Hi everybody, and welcome back to McDougall Cottage. I'm Michelle, and I hope you've been following along with our little cooking series. In the past few days we've made shortbread, we have made scones, and today we're making another Scottish favorite. We're making oatcakes. And the recipe that we're going to be using today has been generously shared by Gail Summers. It's the McKinnon family oatcake recipe. So this is another typically Scottish treat that you will likely have most of the ingredients already at home for. So let's go ahead and make some oatcakes. So we've gathered together our ingredients to make oatcakes, and before we started we preheated the oven to 350 degrees. So here I have 3 cups of, these are quick oats, but I'm sure any flaked oat would do, but I'm using the quick oats today. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a cup of sugar. Now if you want more savory oatcakes, you might want to cut the sugar back by about half, but I'm using the full amount today. We've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We've got a half a teaspoon of salt, a pinch of baking soda. Those are our dry ingredients. And then we have a cup of shortening, and we have a half a cup of cream. Oh, I'm using cream today. You could use milk, you could use warm water, whichever you prefer. So we're first going to mix together our dry ingredients. So I'm going to add the oatmeal, 3 cups, 2 cups of the all-purpose flour. I'm going to put in the cup of sugar. We've got the baking powder, the salt, and our pinch of baking soda. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mix these together so they're incorporated, just a little bit. And then we're going to add our shortening. And the shortening will have to be mixed in. I'm going to use my hands that I have washed thoroughly. But like I said, with the other ingredients, if you would prefer to use a food processor, I'm sure that you can put the dry ingredients in and slowly add the shortening and just pulse it together. I'm sure you'll get exactly the same effect. So there goes the shortening, and I'm going to start to incorporate it into our dry ingredients. So we've incorporated the shortening into our dry ingredients, and as you can see we have a nice sort of crumbly texture here. So now we're going to begin with the next step. We're going to start to add the cream. Like I said, you could use warm water, you can use milk, whatever you prefer, and just go ahead and mix it up. It's going to come together in a really nice dough. If you have to use a little bit extra cream or milk or water, don't worry about it. You just want it to come together in sort of a firm but on the moist side dough. Okay, so as you can see, I've turned my dough out onto this floured surface. Now, when you mix the cream in, you'll get a fairly large ball of dough. So what I like to do to make things a little bit easier is to take that big ball of dough and divide it in half and just work with half at a time. So I've rolled out the dough to about a 1/4 inch or so thickness, and I'm using a medium-sized cookie cutter. Now, if you want smaller oatcakes, you can certainly use a smaller cutter. Some people like to make square oatcakes because it lines up really nicely with the cheese that they're going to have with them. I'm making kind of the traditional round ones, but I'm making slightly larger ones than we normally make here, only because, well, I can. I'm making them and I can, so there you go. But it's really up to you. Depending on the size of the cookie cutter you use, you can get several dozen oatcakes out of this recipe. So we've got our tray of oatcakes ready. As you can see, I've placed them fairly closely together on this parchment lined sheet. Again, this isn't something that's going to spread out, so you can put them fairly close together. We're just going to pop them into this 350 degree oven, and it takes about 10 minutes or so for the oatcakes to be done. You can tell they're done when they just start to get a little bit brown on the bottom, but depending on the size that you made them, you're just going to have to keep an eye on them as they're baking. So let's let them bake and we'll look at them again in a few minutes. So we've got our beautiful oatcakes. This recipe made us about 3.5 dozen of this size oatcakes, and you can enjoy them with some jam, you can enjoy them with some cheese, a cup of tea, a glass of milk, whatever you like. So let us know how your oatcakes turned out. Did you make sweet ones? Did you make savory ones? Send us a picture, or send us a picture, even better, send us a picture of your family enjoying the oatcakes. We would absolutely love to hear from you. So until next time, happy baking!